Kabawa is a pan-Caribbean restaurant that 100% celebrates everything from the West Indies and Caribbean. From the music, to the design, to the food, to the hospitality. It is a place that celebrates Caribbean culture in every way. Kabawa presents a prix menu. It's a choice of 3. You pick one from each section, appetizer, main course, or dessert. And we fill in the gaps so you can have a full experience. When you eat in a Caribbean home, it is bountiful and it is generous. And I want people that eat here to feel joy and hospitality you feel going into someone's house.
This is a wonderful piece of pork from Pennsylvania. So we have the loin going into the belly, all attached. This essentially is what we serve in the restaurants. Chuletas Conch. It is also a dish from Puerto Rico. And the intent for this is to have a perfectly cooked piece of meat, but with really crispy skin. Every day we do this, we wish we had a bandsaw. So what Dylan's gonna do next is clean these up and score the skin, and that's where the name Conch comes from, because the skin flares out like a dress.
I lived in Puerto Rico for 3 years. The Conch is like one of those things that I just loved always, even though it was fully overcooked every time. Traditionally, this whole thing is like deep fried, but with deep frying it, you end up overcooking the loin, but you still get really good texture. So I wanted to find happy space to do both.
What I'm doing is just getting this skin crispy in parts. That's it. You see it's starting to get puffy. So you see how it's changing color, all these little bubbles are popping up. But then we'll pop a weight here, there, get good contact, quick coloring. So from here, this gets seasoned with black pepper, coriander. This one's dry recaito, which is culantro, onion, garlic, oregano. So we just pop it in the oven and cook this bit to temperature. Finish it with a bit of culantro oil. That's it. We got some goat shoulders here that we get from New Jersey. They're coming out of brine. They just confit them. Process takes about 3 hours. These have been in brine for 3 days because we've been waiting for your ass to get here. We start by brining it, then it's confit, it's pressed, and we cut it into little blocks, so we serve it with this like really flavorful, spicy scallop sauce. This is grapeseed oil that we're bringing up to temp. We'll put the goat into the oil and bring that up to like 200 degrees. This is definitely not a traditional Caribbean technique. This is a personal choice to get to the point I wanted to get to. Intentional steps to give joy. We are gonna wrap these bad boys up, pop them in the oven at 250 for about 3.5 hours. This is the wonderful Gabby. She is one of the pastry cooks here. We're about to start making one of our patty doughs for the fried patty. And this is a really like simple dough, but it's really about like the technique of making it. Then in goes turmeric, salt, sugar. You know, we got 2 types of patties on the menu, fried and baked. The baked is more traditional inverted puff pastry, whereas this one, it's still a lamination, but the ratios of butter to flour work so it doesn't just blow apart when you put it in the fryer. And they're sold exclusively at Bar Kabawa.
In this space, there's 8 extra plates and 12 extra plates. In 8 extra plates, there's Kabawa, the main dining room, the main event. You come here for dinner, you bring your parents, you propose here. Then at 12 extra plates, we have Bar Kabawa. Kabawa is the parents, Bar Kabawa are the rowdy children. It is wine and cocktail focused. The cocktail that it focuses on is the daiquiri, and we serve patties there and other small little bites.
Right now it's looking a little bit rough and rugged, kind of like me on a Friday night, and we need it to look more smooth and cohesive. Next steps, Gabby's just gonna portion this and wrap it so I can rest. Then we'll make the butter packet, then that'll rest, and then we'll combine it all together. When we started this, we were doing it by hand, and we quickly realized that that shit was not gonna fly. We had to invest in a sheeter, and it changed our world. Doing this by hand is not fun, especially when you're making hundreds of them. One sheeter plus Gabby equals success. This is Max, he's the CDC here. We have made the dough, and this is the final product before we start portioning it. We call this our swirl dough because of this, and this ends up being a pattern on the patties after we make them.
The thickness that I'm cutting it is for the weight of the dough to be consistent. We want a consistent shape as we go to sheet it, because after we sheet it, depending on the patties, it's cut to a certain shape.
For ease of service for guests, we've decided to make PlayStation shapes, so squares, triangle, and circle, and each shape is a particular filling. Duck is square, circles beef, triangle shrimp.
I was born in a Haitian bakery where my father showed me how to make patties. Funny story, when Paul was looking for a CDC and he interviewed me, one of the questions he asked me is like, hey, do you know how to make patties? And I'm like, bro, I know how to make patties.
What was the other question I asked you? I asked him because he was from Boston. Yeah.
Patriot fan, yes.
I was like, you're a Patriot fan? I was like, there's a wrong and right answer. So we'll just build a few patties. This is gonna be very Italian grandma now, making pasta. We're just spritzing it with water so that the dough could stick to each other. This is our short rib stuffing. So there's short rib, a bunch of alliums. We make essentially like a stew. Then on top, Max is putting conch from Long Island and bone marrow, and then we'll fill the patties. So this is essentially a take on a traditional beef patty, but I wanted to use short rib, you know, surf and turf. Conch, bone marrow adds fat, getting the air out. I live in Flatbush now, and there's tons of patty. When we were doing R&D, Max and I walked around and ate a bunch of patties from different spots. There are a lot of the same, and we really wanted to differentiate ourselves with technique and few luxe ingredients. So these goats just came out of the oven. They're gonna sit and rest for a little while, and then my buddy Sherwin will pull them and press them into a hotel pan. This is Sherwin. Sherwin's been with us for how long, Sherwin? Month and a half. So essentially, we're gonna take these out, drain some of the fat off. We're pulling all the meat off, and we're gonna save as much meat as possible and get rid of all the tendons and most of the fat while keeping it as chunky as possible.
Instead of it being shredded, I want it to feel like you pulled this piece off a cooked shoulder. You know, like how you have like pulled pork, and you just grab a chunk and want it to feel like, hey, this is a chunk that we've pulled off and it's on your plate, rather it be like pate.
We get rid of a lot of the veins and sinew. These shoulders today are quite large, so they're quite fatty, and then start laying these chunks in. So right now, all I'm looking for is to make sure there are no air pockets. I want to just keep the chunky bits like this so that when we go to portion it, and you as a guest get it, you're getting a good piece of meat and not like just a bunch of this. We're gonna start our duck sausage. This is one of our main courses. This is a sausage that is inspired by another sausage from Puerto Rico, but it's flavored in a way where it could mimic jerk.
It's flavors of jerk. It's not really jerk. Because to have real jerk, you need a lot of smoking, blah, 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 you know? So we're taking some creative liberties with the term and presenting a flavor rather than a cooking style.
We're taking the leg and the thigh bone out of the duck legs, trying to get, a good amount of meat off of there.
Dill's just gonna roast these bones quickly, and that'll go into the braise to just add roasted flavor. I always tell my crew here, our most important ingredient is time. Letting something marinate, letting something cure, letting something ferment, letting, you know, whatever it might be. Everything here presents incredibly simple, but there's a lot of back-end work that's done by Dylan, myself, and the prep team to get things ready for the line cooks and the guests. These are Scotch bonnets. They go in whole. Scotch bonnet, incredible pepper. They have a very long and building heat, and they're quintessential to Caribbean cooking. We keep them whole because I want it when it's braised that the flavors of the chili come out more than the heat, which is inside mostly the seeds and the veins. Garlic, we keep whole as well. Onion, these are poblano peppers and celery, ginger, the salt and allspice. And then this is a mixture of green seasoning, which is one of the seasoning bases we use here, and lots of thyme. Different thyme this time. And this adds some color. And essentially, we'll just layer it in, and then this will marinate overnight.
The menu is written in a way where it intentionally honors different parts of the Caribbean and not in a very loud way. There's the English-speaking Caribbean and the French-speaking Caribbean, the Spanish-speaking, Dutch. And we all have little things in every space to represent those regions. We're an hour and a half out from service. We are incredibly behind because Connor's been here all day. You know. But yes, we're an hour and a half out of service. The prep team is starting to wrap up so they can go home, and the line cook have just gotten here like half an hour ago. But we have this goat to finish and duck sausage to finish before service. Okay, ducky's done. There's a ton of fat, and we are just going to strain this off. Everything in here we will use for said sausage. Liver adds richness, iron, added some rice. It gives body, it gives texture. From here, we're gonna add some fat. This is essentially done. We're just gonna test for seasoning at the moment. We need a little bit of heat in this particular mix. And here we have fermented Scotch bonnet, and we'll add a tiny bit of that to up the ante because this isn't spicy enough. Dylan and I do this every week, and it's been a good bonding experience for us. Right, Dylan?
Yeah, I feel like I really know you. That's it.
We get to know each other really well. We prick this to get rid of any sort of air pockets. We'll go back around after it's linked. So these get poached afterwards. We're gonna poach them for about 6 to 7 minutes, just really to cook the intestine, because obviously everything else is inside is cooked. Then we cool them down. We hang them for a day to form dry skin. And then we smoke them, and then they're ready to serve. This is starting to prep for the pepper shrimp. These are awesome Montauk shrimp. We save all the heads and shells for stock and sauce. So pepper shrimp is quintessential Jamaican street snack. Think about shrimp cocktail, but shell on and spicy. So we'll peel all of these, and then we'll get to deveining them. They get served with hibiscus, Scotch bonnet, thyme. The entire region we're trying to showcase. Lesser known countries, because the Caribbean isn't just about Jamaica and Trinidad and Barbados. And as the menu evolves and changes, we'll highlight different regions of the Caribbean. I've said Caribbean a lot.
Happy Tuesday, folks.
Happy Tuesday, Chef.
Tonight we're at 45 covers. You already know what the name of the game is. Communicating, following the ticket as it comes in on royalty. Other than that, let's do what we always do. Be great on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Be great!
First thing, the guest gets is a plate of roti, bus-up shot with bami. It comes with 4 dips, pepper jelly with butter, plantain, guava chutney, and our chickpea curry. want it nice and crispy. And we rip it up. And here's our bami made from cassava root. There we have it.
Ordering 2, fire pepper shrimp, mushroom, followed by goat and a bass. Happy Tuesday. Let's have a great service.
Every main course here is essentially protein or vegetable and a sauce element.
Ordering 2, fire mushroom, cassava dumpling, followed by a goat and a bass. That's a turnover on the board.
Leaving Kabawa, you should feel like $1 million. You should feel you've been taken care of. You should feel that people gave a about you. You should just feel good. That is bottom line. That is our goal. That's what we want to do, from the dishwasher to the GM, you know? Our MO is to just try and make people feel good.